honest. But before we get started, by the way, this is going to be a great video, probably one of the most important videos that I've done. I don't know how long I'm going to leave the video up because I might be giving away too much gold here. But I promised this video for my friend, and also I promised you guys from the video last time. So I just wanted to complete that circle, don't leave that open loop there. But before we get started, I wanted to let you know if you guys have a business or know of somebody that needs assistance with different things, marketing wise, perhaps consulting wise. I'm going to put a link up on the video here real quick, and let me put it in there. So it's gabebautista.com/survey. Even if you're just maybe interested in taking it, see what is out there. It's mostly I'm trying to get a feel for different groups of people that I can help and how I can best help them. So if you're a business owner and you're looking to grow your business a lot more, if you're already spending money on advertising, that will be ideal. If you're already spending money on consulting, it's even better. So that being said, you can share the survey with anybody. It's a public thing, it's not a private thing. And none of the questions in the survey are required. You can skip over any of the ones that are there, but it will really help me if you take the survey. So it's down there, check it out. Okay, so let's get with the topic of today. Like I said, today's topic is very important, and we're talking about persuasion. Now I left the graph from last time because it's basically, this is what we're talking about. I'm going to delete some of this stuff here, okay, and I'm going to try to write a little more clearly so that we can all see. I've gotten some comments about that. So we're talking about the strength, warmth, paradox, okay? And so we're talking about persuasion. Anytime we're talking about persuasion, there must be, a disclaimer that you can really use this for evil. Like I said, this is why I don't know how long I'm going to leave this video up, because like I said, I think this is a lot of very sensitive stuff. Now, if you think I'm exaggerating, or you think I'm just being funny, or saying that this is secret, or because so that you think it's more important than it really is, I assure you it's not. This is very sensitive stuff. If you really understand these kinds of things, you could really position yourself to be the greatest, the source of anybody's greatest desires and solution to their biggest pains. So use this with ethic, okay? Like I said, and this has been a topic throughout all the videos that I've done lately, focusing on character ethics and not personality ethics, okay? So personality ethics just basically says, well, let me learn a trick, let me take some courses, let me learn some tips so I could be more or seem more trustworthy. The best way to seem more trustworthy is to be trustworthy. And so it's very important to go down to the character, because you're going to get found out earlier or later. So the best thing to do is use it for good. If you are going to position yourself to solve somebody's problem, make sure you can actually solve that person's problem. Okay? Now, that being said, we have this paradox. And why do we call it a paradox? We call it a paradox because the more we do one, the less we do the other one. The more we seem warm to people, warm like we care for them, the less strong, capable, competent we feel, or people perceive us. Okay? So the strongest that we are, the less warmth and caring we come across. Okay? So, if you guys are familiar with a character, his name is Niccolo Machiavelli. So, if you're not familiar with Niccolo Machiavelli, you might be familiar with the adjective Machiavellian, something Machiavellian, something that it's kind of tricky and kind of deceitful. And there's many definitions for it, but he is the guy that said, the quote, would you rather be loved or feared? So in essence, what he's asking is, would you rather be warmed or would you rather be strong and capable? He answers his own quote. He says, well, both. Okay? Now, that is the trick. To be able to have both of those qualities in equal percentages. And not only in equal percentages, but be able to bring them out at the appropriate time, at a time in the best way possible. Okay. Now this gets really tricky, and we can go on for hours on this video, and that's not really my intention. I want to give you guys 2 fundamental tricks on this. So first of all, this is already a great thing for you to understand. So I need to come across as competent. I need to come across as strong. I need to come across like I can lead this ship, right, as a captain. But I also have to come across as warm and caring, because people, it's like the saying goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay? So this is very important. But if you're a woman, for example, women naturally appear to be warm. This is why there's a certain perception, and again, this has to do with the heuristical biases, with the some people call it cognitive bias, with the things in our head that we make those snap judgments, stereotypes that are, a lot of times they can guide us the wrong way. For example, that women, because they're more warm, because they are more caring, more nurturing, again, that's a stereotype, then they're less strong, less capable of leadership, of being competent, which is of course ridiculous if you think about it. But these are the kinds of things that we make snap judgments, and you might not even know that you're doing it. Most people, as a matter of fact, a lot of studies have been made, and even people who say, no, I'm not influenced at all by it, they are influenced by it. And that's why it's so strong, because it's sort of in your subconscious, a lot of it. Okay? So if you were a woman, then you need to compensate a lot more towards your strength, which you're going to come across as sort of heartless. And then people are going to say, oh, she's not warm at all. And so, this person, a lot of women in strong positions are not very liked, because they're perceived as cold, which is perceived as sort of an anti-woman quality to have, okay? But if they're too sweet, too nice, like for example, my mom for many years, and she was overly sweet, and she didn't even realize. And so she came across as sort of weak, not as competent, and she's a super smart, capable woman. So this is the paradox. This is the difference here, okay? Now I'm going to give you those 2 tips to utilize this in the best way possible. And here they are. This is key, guys. This is so important, okay? So, because these 2 things, strength and warm, don't work exactly in the same way. You don't just treat them the same way. We're going to talk about, as far as the warm, we're going to talk about the tomato rule, okay? So what is the tomato rule? The tomato rule states, just like if you had a harvest of tomatoes, if there's one cold night, and the harvest freezes over, it kills all the tomatoes. Okay, now I'm not a farmer, so I'm just taking the example from somebody's mouth and saying, okay, that must be the way it is. Okay, so let's just go with it. I think it's probably accurate, but in case it's not, any of you guys are farmers and go, Gabe, you don't know what you're talking about. Let's suppose that that's how it is. Okay, because what happens with warmth is that it only takes one time. It only takes one time of you not showing that you care, not showing that you're warm, that you are nurturing, for people to freeze over and never really, endow you with their trust, because they think, oh, you don't care. You don't care. And so, I'm not saying that if you make one mistake in the warmth, you're done, but pretty much. I mean, it's very hard to work. It takes a lot a lot of work to overcome that tomato rule. So that's your number one tip, to create warmth. So if anything, if you had to focus on one of them, and I know because I put a lot of work into this the last year, 2 years of my life. This has been a very difficult challenge for me. You would want to lean towards the warmth, because if you make a mistake being too warm, it's better than if you make a mistake being too cold and then you freeze everybody over, your team that you're maybe leading, or your maybe your significant other that you're trying to meet and establish that deep trust and connection, all that. So if you have to lean towards the warm, then you might want to do that, because you don't want to commit the tomato rule. So that's tip number one. That's a cool one, right? Now let's talk about tip number two. On this side, strength. How does this work? Is strength work the same way? No, actually strength sort of works the opposite way. You can come on strong and capable at the beginning. And so people go, oh wow, this person is capable, and wow, this is very smart, and he knows what he's doing. But you need to continue doing that and start establishing a track record of it. Because if you slack off, then they'll realize, oh yeah, this guy is actually not that capable, not that strong, not that, he doesn't have as big of a leadership as we thought. So see how they work, both work differently? Now, do you see how tricky this could be? This is why real leaders are the ones that can lead all kinds of people, not just the people who are like them, because that's what happens. Most people, they just lead a bunch of the people who are just like them. If they're extroverted, then they're all extroverted, and so they're fine. It's to be able to step into a team as any kind of leader, as any kind of boss, as a captain of a soccer team. By the way, my team won today, so I'm very happy, which I'm going to announce a little project that I'm a side project that I'm going to be doing. We're going to be doing some football, some people call it soccer, analysis and stuff. So that's my other passion. I'll share with you guys then. So all these kinds of group efforts need real leadership that comes from a balance of strength and warmth. But as you can tell, since that's a paradox, the more you do of one, the less you do of the other. So if you want to be more persuasive, you want to start practicing and start recognizing these traits in other people and how they are balancing them. If there's any kind of a boss that you have that is not quite balanced, you might start observing, oh, I see what's going on. Maybe she's coming on way too strong and almost on the warm side, kind of hypocritical. And so people don't really trust you, and if they don't really trust you, then it's impossible to lead a team, even if they're capable of doing it. And of course, a lot of times leaders, they blame it on the people. They say, oh, I have a team that doesn't work hard and blah, blah, blah. But most of the time, it is because of these things. So these are cool things to know, but remember, work on your character ethic first. Now, this is the hardest thing ever. These are things that I struggle with all the time, every day. To become a better person, to become more sincere, to become more trustworthy, to become honest, to become reliable, to become, all these intangible qualities that are so important. And as technology keeps getting, more and more advanced, and people have access to more and more information, things are going to start to be copied more and more. It'll be easy to, tangible things and things like information is going to be so easy to acquire. But things like trust and honesty and loyalty, those are what we call first principles. So when we talk about first principles, we talk about the laws of physics, the laws of thermodynamics, but also we have moral laws that are just as unrelenting as the law of gravity, right? If I jump out of my apartment building here, I'm going to kill myself because it's really high. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Morally, we also have boundaries that we should not go over, because it's going to result in our harm, really. So this is a quick video. I don't know how long I'm going to leave it up. Please take my survey if you are a business owner or somebody who's even looking to start. I want to hear a bunch of people's thoughts, see how I can best help a lot of people. And I hope this video was helpful. I think this is a lot of gold here. If you start practicing these things, you will become more persuasive. You'll be able to get anything from a raise to maybe a date, perhaps things like you want to get a business partner, you want to lead your team because you have people working under you, and these kinds of things, these kinds of principles really hit to the core of what is being human. And it's good to use them not as tricks, remember, not as personality ethic, not as, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look people in the eye and all these kinds of things. And that's not bad, but what we really need to work on is our basic, real level of humanness, of real sincerity. And that will come across in every area on our life and will pay huge dividends. Okay, so we'll see you guys next time in the next video. Keep writing those messages. Please take my survey down below, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.